Hello, good afternoon. This is David Soto talking to you, and today is my weekly trade predictions for the upcoming trading week of October 14 through October 18, 2019. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to all the major forex currency pairs, and I'm going to start with a 15-minute chart and show you what's happened this past week, and then I'm going to compare that time frame to a bigger time frames like a 4-hour, daily, and weekly, just to get an overall picture of what I think the market is going to be headed. And then I'm going to give you my analysis and try to show you where you need to place your trades and what direction you need to place your trades, okay? So to begin with, I'll start here on EURUSD, okay? If we go in the 15-minute chart, we look at this past week. This past week, the price ended slightly higher than where it began. And as you see here, a real slight uptrend. But one thing you want to note here is that if you mark this point here, this is the lowest point, you mark up, all right, this is your uptrend, all right. We're now in an uptrend, and this is your support. So until this is broken, we're still going to be in an uptrend, okay. I just want to kind of point that out. Now if we go to like a 4-hour chart, look at the 4-hour chart, we see that here's the uptrend I marked from this past week, okay? And right now it's still showing to go up. So what I think is going to happen is the beginning of the week is going to drop and touch this trend line and bounce up even further, okay? If we look at this high point right here and mark it, that is our target goal for this coming week. So this pair should be going up, okay? So I would, if I was you, I would look for only buy orders, okay? Look for buy opportunities. Like I said, this in the beginning of the week it's going to drop some, and you probably can catch some pips on the way down. But to be 100% safe, wait until you get like a buy opportunity on like a 30-minute chart, okay? If you go to the 30-minute chart here, you see right now it's dropping, right? And you see this downtrend forming right here. And so this is your resistance right here. It's going to drop until it hits this trend line. Now at this point it's either going to do one of two things. Either it's going to break this trend line and keep going down, or it's going to bounce off this and keep going up. Based on the higher time frames, I strongly believe that this is going to be headed up, okay? If you look at the daily chart, all we have is an up arrow, and the weekly also. So what does that mean? The long-term trend is bullish, meaning it's going to be going up, okay? So even though the smaller time frames are telling you to sell, that's going to be a short-term thing. You know, it's going to be a short-term trade. And right now it's in a downtrend, but that's only going to last probably till Monday. Going into Tuesday, you're going to see it shoot back up even further, okay? So do not look to sell EURUSD, look to buy it, okay? Now moving on to Pound USD, we kind of see the same thing. All right, this past week started off with very little movement, and then going into the end of the week on Thursday, we saw the price shoot up even higher, right? And it's been going up ever since. So now we're starting to see an uptrend for Pound USD, which this has been wanting and fighting to go into uptrend for quite some time. And if I draw a trend line right here, this is your support level, okay? And right now on the 15-minute, even 30-minute, we have a down arrow, okay? So what does that mean? Same thing with the EURUSD. This is going to shoot down and hit this trend line and go back up. Now it could break this trend line and go down, but based on higher time frames, I'm thinking this is going to go up. Now on the 4-hour chart, we see it hit a strong level of resistance, right? But if we look at the daily, it's still showing to go up, and the weekly also. So the long-term trend for this is definitely bullish, and the fact that, you know, the past couple of days it has shot up so much, meaning that this is really gaining momentum, and we should see a continuation of this uptrend. Now it should drop a few hundred points and hit some kind of level of support and keep going up. If I go to the 4-hour chart here and zoom in a little bit, all right, we have this uptrend, right? Pretty sharp uptrend. Now it could break this trend line and drop a little bit more, but if you notice, if we mark, we have a resistance right here that was broken and is now a support. Okay, and you see the price broke here, came back down and bounced off of that. All right, so this means that this is a strong level of support as of this moment. So we can predict that the price will most likely drop to this point and then bounce up even further. Okay, since we have a strong signal to sell on the 4-hour chart. So keep an eye out on Monday. If the price breaks this trend line and goes down, you could sell and catch about 500 pips on the way down. If I get my crosshairs, let's say it breaks right about here, and then it drops to here. That's already 1,718 pips or points, right? So depending on how your broker looks at pips or points, but the fact is you could definitely catch some pips on the way down. All right, but the thing is, the long-term trend is bullish. So for me, I would look for buy opportunities only. Okay, I'll let you decide exactly how you want to trade this, but if you're patient and you wait maybe till like Tuesday or Wednesday, you're going to see this spike back up again. And I would wait until, I would use like the 30-minute or 1-hour chart and just look for buy opportunities. All right, that is my recommendation for the GBPUSD, buy opportunities only. Moving on to Australian dollar, US dollar, we kind of see the same thing. We had a range of market, a flat range of market at the beginning of the week, and then towards the end of the week it spiked up. And this is a reoccurring pattern, right? We keep seeing again and again. So this means the US dollar is definitely weakening. But the US dollar is, always is and probably always will be the strongest currency in the world. So don't expect it to just lay down and give up. But we do see that we have a slight uptrend forming on the 15-minute chart here. If I draw a trend line coming up, all right, probably from this point going up, I don't know. And you see this point almost touched and this point. So to me, this is your level of support. And if it breaks, we're going to see a downtrend forming, but it's only going to be temporary, considering this is only a 15-minute chart. If we look at the 4-hour chart, okay, we have a strong signal to sell, just like our previous example. But on the daily and the weekly, it's a strong signal to buy. So long term, this is definitely going to be going up. So like I already stated before, you can wait for this to break, okay, and it will probably shoot back up. If we mark this level of resistance, okay, that's pretty strong. We see that it hit this level of resistance before, came back up, broke. Now it's a support. Okay, so as of right now, this is a support and it will bounce off of this. More than likely, it will break this trend line and then bounce off of this and go back up. Also, we have this level of resistance right here, okay, which is also a level of support, another level of support. So if this one breaks, it will drop to here and go back up even more. Okay, I do not think that we're going to see a long downtrend of this pair, as this is definitely wanting to go up long term. And since we had such a big increase going into the latter half of the week on Thursday and Friday, I feel like this is definitely going to be going up now. Okay, we had a big spike up, and then we had a range, and then another big spike up. So we're probably going to see another range and then another spike up. That's how it kind of works. It kind of goes up like this, flat, and then up again. All right, and then we're going to see another flat and another up, but it's just going to take some time. All right, but considering that the long-term trend is bullish, I would be looking for buy opportunities only. Okay, so you might have to wait till Tuesday or Wednesday to get a strong signal to buy, but that's okay. All right, usually on Wednesdays we see a lot of reversals, and Wednesday's a good time to get in and hop into some trades. Okay, so now moving on to US dollar, Swiss franc, USDCHF, we see more of a range of market. All right, the price ended slightly higher than where it began, but overall you see that it's moving in this like sideways fashion. All right, so what's happening here is that the US dollar is really trying to fight to go up, and the Swiss franc has weakened also. So both of these currencies have weakened, but who is the stronger of the two? And the answer is US dollar. Okay, so the US dollar has yet to really form a strong downtrend, and that's to be expected. Okay, that's to be expected simply because the US dollar is a very strong currency. Okay, now if we, like I said, I do not really see any new uptrends or downtrends here. I could mark like this right here, but even that is not a really good example of a uptrend, but that's close enough, right, for a level of support. And I'm thinking that this is going to break and continue down, but we need to look at some higher time frames. So we look at the 4 hour. Okay, on the 4 hour it shows we have a down arrow, right? So, you know, long term we can expect this to be dropping, but if we look at the daily, it still shows to be going up. All right, this is kind of a repeat from last week, so we don't know. All right, what I can tell you is that this has weakened. Okay, this has stalled out, and we hit this strong level of resistance right here, and also we have an uptrend forming here. All right, so this is your true uptrend. Okay, so like on the 30-minute chart, we have this small uptrend, but then we have a bigger uptrend according to the daily. And I could delete this right here just so the screen is not cluttered. But if I go back to the daily chart, we see this is the uptrend. So once this uptrend, this trend line is broken, then we'll have a new downtrend forming. And I feel that this is going to happen this coming week. I don't know, you know, I'm only speculating, but what I see here is a strong level of resistance, and the price shooting up some, but starting to go back down. And what will probably happen, most likely, the price is going to hit this trend line and bounce up even further. It's going to hit this level of resistance again, and then it's going to get trapped inside here. This is called a wedge pattern, okay? And more specifically, a rising wedge pattern, and the price will get trapped inside of here, and then eventually break out and form a downtrend. Okay, and if the price comes up and touches this resistance again on the daily chart, I believe that we're going to see another arrow pop up and telling you to sell. And if that's the case, you really need to sell. Okay, if we look at the weekly chart, all we have is a down arrow. Okay, which I showed last week. So what all this means is that yes, the long-term trend is definitely bearish, meaning it's going to be going down. Now we also have a level of resistance here, which is very notable. Okay, and it hit this level of resistance several times in the past. Okay, so it could, if it breaks this level of resistance, it's going to shoot up to this level, but eventually it's going to drop. So look out for sell opportunities only. Okay, I would, but only if this trend line is broken. So we're looking for one or two things here. We're looking for this resistance to be broken or this trend line to be broken. And it's my belief that this trend line will be broken. But, you know, please do not hold me to that, because I'm not a fortune teller. all I can tell you is what I see right here in front of me. Okay, and we can see that we have a clear uptrend right here, and we have a level of resistance right here as of right now. Okay, next week we might see something different, and this is definitely going to shoot up this coming week, but more than likely it's going to shoot back down. So I would look for sell opportunities only. All right, and I would be hesitant to trade this right now because it's been ranging so much. And it's okay if you want to sell right now, because it's going to drop a few hundred pips, and you could definitely catch some pips on the way down right now. If you look at the price right now where it is, if you come back down to this level, you're looking at least 500 pips that you could sell. Okay, so you definitely can catch a few hundred pips on the way down, and then if it goes back up again, which it will, you probably can catch some pips on the way back up. Considering this has been pretty much a flat ranging market, and we're going to see a lot of buy and sell opportunities. But if you want to be 100% safe, like I said, wait for this trend line to break, and then you catch a lot of pips on the way down. But unfortunately, it may not happen for another week before we actually see this trend line broken. So I'm going to leave it up to you as to exactly how you trade this. But the thing is, just keep in mind that the long-term trend is bearish, meaning it's going to be going down. Okay, that's the thing we need to look at. All right. Moving on to U.S. dollar, Japanese yen, we see a steady increase. Okay. Now, if the U.S. dollar is weakening and dropping, the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen typically normally will go in an inverse relationship. So if the US dollar Japanese yen is gaining, that's a good indication that the US dollar is dropping. Okay, so if we see here, we had a long downtrend, and now we have a new uptrend, right? So this past week has definitely been gaining, and it looks like it hit a pretty strong level of resistance. And if I draw an uptrend coming from here up to here, I'm going to mark this as our level of support. If it breaks, then we can expect this to be dropping. Okay, but now let's look at the 4-hour chart. Okay, the 4-hour chart, we show a downtrend right here. And we show a down arrow, meaning this is a strong level of resistance. But the fact that it shot up, and it shot up higher than the previous 2 arrows here, means that more than likely it's going to go up even more. And that's if the US dollar continues to weaken. If we look at the daily, all we have is an up arrow. Okay, and if you look at the daily, we have a level of resistance right here, very notable. Okay, trying to look in the past here, we see here the level of support before, so this is very notable because it stands out as a marker. All right, these market makers do this on purpose to identify areas of support and resistance. And let me zoom in a bit, but if we look at this right here, this trend line, even on the 30-minute or 1-hour chart, we see that here is that level of resistance up here, and here's that trend line. So what I think is going to happen, and this is just my opinion, it's going to hit this trend line and bounce up even further. Okay, so for me, I would look for buy opportunities only for US dollar, Japanese yen, USDJPY. Okay, so this week, even if you trade on the 15-minute, 30-minute chart, it's okay, but wait for this to drop and hit a level of support, and when you get a signal to buy, then you want to jump into a trade. Okay, and you can definitely catch a lot of pips on the US dollar, Japanese yen. Moving on to US dollar, Canadian dollar, USDCAD, we see that the price actually did drop, move into the latter half of the week. In the beginning, we had a flat range of market because these 2 pairs typically run neck to neck, and they always want to fight. But now, this past Friday was the non-farm payroll for the Canadian dollar, where they release all of their employment data, and we see that the price did spike down. Okay, so they had a negative in their employment data. Okay, so what that means is that this U.S. dollar is going to keep on dropping. All right, so at least that's my opinion right now. All right, because we had the big drop right here. Now it stalled out on a Friday afternoon, which is normal. So question is it going to go back up, or is it going to keep dropping? Okay, so if we look at the 1 hour, let's look at some higher time frames. We see that we hit a level of support on the 1 hour and the 4 hour also. Okay, so if we mark this level of support, all right, we see that it's kind of a level of resistance before, but I want to mark that if the price drops below this, that's when you want to jump into a sell trade. Okay, if you look at the daily, all right, it still shows to go up, but if we look at the weekly, it shows that it wants to go down. So the big trend, even on the monthly, is showing bearish that it wants to go down. All right, so long term, this is definitely going to be going down, and I would look for sell opportunities only. All right, if I'm going to draw a trend line right here, we see that this is I'm going to mark this right here as your level of support on the monthly. Okay, if we go back to the daily, zoom in on the daily a little bit, we see and I can adjust this a little bit, but it's easy to, well, I'll go back to the monthly, but it's very easy to draw this on the monthly, but it changes on the smaller time frames. Let me zoom out on the daily. All right, so we see this right here, okay, as your uptrend. I'm thinking that the price is going to hit this and bounce up again, but that's going to be, you know, probably going into next week. Okay, so, you know, think of this long term as definitely going to be dropping, and we have a level of resistance right here that's pretty strong. Okay, and a little bit higher here, but if we look right here, we have what's called a rising wedge pattern. So we can expect the price to ride in here, and then eventually it's going to break out and form a downtrend. Okay, so long term is definitely going to be bearish. It's going to be definitely going down. So if you compare this to a smaller time frame, we see this right here hit the level of support and it's going to bounce up, right? But I would not buy right now. Okay, because we had a big drop Friday. I would, even if it shoots back up, I would wait for a sell opportunity. Okay, if you look here on a 30-minute chart, and I draw a trend line coming down right here, like this, then this is not 100% guaranteed, but this will mark a immediate downtrend, and I think the price is going to shoot back up here, come down, and go down even further. Okay, it's going to follow this trend line even further down. But you know, that's just speculation at this point. It could maintain, and like I said earlier, if this support line is broken on the 30-minute chart, then you really want to hop into a sell trade. Okay, and you could probably put a pin in order, a pin in sell stop, you know, about 200 pips below this, which is not much, but if we mark this right here is 200 pips or 200 points, depending on your broker, but right there would be a good point to place a sell stop pin in order and just wait it out. Okay, because I don't know, I think we're going to have probably more of a range of market with this, but the fact that, you know, it's shown to be bearish, I would definitely be looking for sell opportunities. All right, so that is these are my trade predictions for the week. Please reach out to me on Facebook if you have any questions or comments. I look forward to hearing from you. If you want analysis for any other currency pair that I have not showed you here, please message me on Facebook and ask me, and I will do my very best to try to give you my analysis on what I think is going to happen. Also, I will ask you to please share your analysis so we can compare notes and we both can learn from each other. All right. So anyhow, this is my trade prediction for the week. Please let me have any questions or comments. There is a link below in the description of this video for my personal Facebook account. Also, there is a link below in the description for my private Facebook group. If you have not joined my Facebook group, I ask that you please do so. This way you can post any questions or comments in my Facebook group, and myself or other traders can better assist you, okay? And we can have like a group discussion. So with that said, let me have any questions, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you.